Houston Texans, Houston Rockets, Houston Dynamo, Houston everything, Houston born and raised, H-Town Rebel Space Cadet Sports.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, folks of all stripes, and distinguished guests, put your hands together for the Space Cadet Sports Podcast. Houston, we have Paul Salazar Jr.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the Space Cadet Sports Podcast, your Houston sports podcast for die-hard Houston sports fans. From a die-hard Houston sports fan, I'm Paul Salazar Jr., your favorite die-hard Astros fan podcaster. I'm an improviser, a writer, an actor, a creative multi-hyphenate, and most importantly, I'm a proud Houston native, and of course, I have the receipts to prove it. Folks, I may never have smuggled 200 HEB tortillas across state lines, but I did once take the Metro Rail to a Texans game, so I have some H-Town cred there, folks. I was born and raised in Houston, Texas, and I've spent the last decade or so as a comedy writer here in Los Angeles, and now, well, I'm podcasting. That's what happens once you hit 10 years out here in Los Angeles. Health gurus finally tell you how to correctly pronounce acai, and you start podcasting. Welcome to said podcast. Space Cadet Sports started as a passion project because most media is infuriating. As a diehard long-term fan of Houston sports teams, especially the Houston Astros, so here we try not to be doom and gloom, casual Astros or Houston fans looking for hot takes, nor do we try to be the national media haters just looking to beat up on teams just to get clicks. We love our teams and we want to root them on, but we'd also like to try to discuss the ins and outs of what's going on with them without too much homerism. The key word here, of course, is try. I'd like to welcome new listeners and, of course, welcome returning listeners to what my brother calls a Paul Broad Pod Ball Blog. Hey, brother. I'd like to shout out to my brothers, shout out to Arrested Development fans, and shout out to anybody that subscribes to Space Cadet Sports, whether that's the podcast or the blog at spacecadetsports.substack.com. Go there for the full blog experience or the full blog experience, depending on your interpretation of my mumbles here. We are recording this transmission here in sunny Los Angeles, where I'm joined, as always, by my co-host and co-producer, The Roz. To my Frasier, Carla, the dog, is here with me today. Listeners of the podcast know that she make it on mic from time to time. She's got the hot takes on this podcast, while I've got the cool, neutral, lukewarm, reasonable takes, I guess. Truthfully, I should say, there's been a lot of commotion with the neighbors. Not anything bad, just a little bit of noise. So I do apologize in advance if Carla has a lot of hot takes on this podcast. This podcast, folks, we are going to talk about your Houston Rockets. That's right. Kevin Durant has signed with the Houston Rockets, and it is time to speculate. It's time to be a destination for free agents. So we already have Rockets news for you here in the summer, in July. July is barely but a wee baby, and we already have some Houston Rockets news for you. So we're going to talk about Clint Capela. We are also going to talk about Dorian Finney-Smith, two new additions to the Houston Rockets today as free agency has just begun. We'll talk about them on the podcast, as well as your Houston Astros, who had a day off yesterday, but are ramping up for a series against the Colorado Rockies in Colorado. And yeah, we just did a podcast yesterday, folks. We're doing another one today because honestly, I am planning to take the weekend off completely for 4th of July weekend. And it's kind of a bummer, obviously. The Houston Astros versus the LA Dodgers is going to be a great matchup. I live in Los Angeles, but folks, I need the time off. I'm going to enjoy watching them. I will be able to recap the series for you, of course. After the weekend, we will get back on it on Monday with a recap of that LA Houston series. I'll check in with you just to make sure I'm still safe, folks. And speaking of that, I also, a new feature of this podcast, with everything that's been going on in the news, is of course I would like to, as always in this feature, this part of the podcast, before I go too far, I'd like to say, wish a good day, mates, to all of our listeners out there. But this is also the time now where I'd like to say how much I love America. I always say that. But moving on, folks, let's go ahead and talk about some sports. The Houston Rockets, folks, get ready to talk about them all summer long. Or not really. They might have already done all the moves they can do. But we got to talk about our Rockets. It is this past week, the enthusiasm for the Houston Rockets is at an all-time high. I will say it, folks. Houston sports is in a renaissance right now. We are in a revival. It feels good to be a Houston fan right now. I think obviously and we didn't run the table. There's still no WNBA team. There's still no NHL team. People have been fans have asked for those, but still. With the main sports here, the Houston sports teams are really kind of the toast of the town at the moment, going 3 for 3 with the three major sports, and this just doesn't happen very frequently. So enjoy this, folks. This podcast is for people that want to feel good about sports. Truthfully, in the beginning we talk about not being casual doom and gloom fans or haters. This podcast, the audience is for people that want to talk about Houston sports but don't want to always feel bad about it all the time. We do want to actually root the teams on. So, this is actually a good time to remember this is not how it usually goes. Usually, you're happy if one of the teams is doing well. That's how most sports fandom goes for most people in their respective cities. But folks, we just have to appreciate what's going on right now in Houston, and I am very grateful. Let's talk about your Houston Rockets adding Dorian Finney-Smith, who opted out of his player option for the LA Lakers, and the Rockets were able to just jump on in there and scoop Dorian Finney-Smith up. And we also were able to sign Clint Capela, who's going to be part of a sign-and-trade with the Atlanta Hawks. Clint Capela is returning to Houston. And folks, if you're like me, you remember the Harden days. Of course, it's sad that now, it feels like I was a young man. And now it's just a long time ago. The rooting for James Harden and Clint Capela back in the day. It's good to have Capela back. This move did have a lot of people scratching their heads. That's why we're kind of talking about that first. Dorian Finney-Smith kind of made sense for a lot of people. He's a 3-and-D type big man with a long wingspan. He's going to shoot some shots for this team. He's going to create some spacing with Dylan Brooks gone to the Phoenix Suns. With Jalen Green gone to the Phoenix Suns, this team could use a little extra shooting in the wing. And they got a plus defender in Dorian Finney-Smith. So a lot of people are like, yes, makes sense. Great move. The Rockets are unstoppable yet again. But Clint Capela did have some people scratching their heads. And that logic is, well, we already have Alpi. We have Alperen Şengün most likely being our starting center with the way that this roster shakes out right now. And then we have Steven Adams, who we just signed, coming off the bench, providing some size, potentially ready for that scary double big lineup that made some noise at the end of last season and in the playoffs. So what is Clint Capela doing here? Isn't Clint Capela kind of, no disrespect to Mr. Capela. We love Clint Capela, but a lot of people are saying, isn't he on the decline of his career? It happens to us all. I've been on the decline of my career, I think, since my career started in entertainment. So, no disrespect. It's just at the end of the day, we're looking for a third center. We're looking for somebody like Jock Landale, who, is looking to be moved now, but with Clint Capela, it's a pretty affordable contract. It's a veteran presence. And what it does is it truly makes this lineup really versatile. And it's Steven Adams insurance in case he has some injury issues. Folks, this might be a triple big lineup. I don't think they'll ever play them all three at one time. Maybe we'll get lucky and see a true triple big. See Alperen Şengün play small forward. I really think that this really makes the team super versatile. You can play really small and rangy, and have a very switchable defense. Which is what, they kind of run out there a lot, what they ran out there a lot last season. Or you can go for this really big lineup, and you could either go for, this mix and match options of what kind of matchup do you want against the other bigs? How do you want to play the other front court and make them uncomfortable? Because no matter what you do, we have an answer for it. And, that's what makes me excited about bringing Clint Capela back. Yes, Clint Capela isn't going to be a starting center, but we don't expect him to be. He gets to do a very great job for him at this point in his career, coming off the bench, doing what he does best, kind of just being, a gun for hire, just going out there and doing what you do best, creating some space vertically, blocking some shots, being a presence that can, kind of switch a little bit on the front court. I am really excited about how this front court is going to play. The Houston Rockets are going to be a threat, and them going for Dorian Finney-Smith, them going for Clint Capela. This to me is Rafael Stone putting all his chips on the table. He's saying this is not just a team that we are looking to make the playoffs. We are looking to contend for a championship. That's what we're doing, and not just for the next couple of seasons with Kevin Durant. We're locking up Jabari Smith Jr. We want to have continued success, and we want to build a foundation for this team's success going forward. I mean, that's what the Houston Astros did. You look at the Houston Astros, they found some success, they built a foundation, and now they're kind of just this inevitable Thanos meme that whenever people think that they're going to have a bad season and they bounce back, they're just like, yep, that's just how the Astros do it. The Rockets are trying to build that type of foundation for culture. And by extending Ime Udoka, by the moves that they've done this offseason, you could tell that this team is trying to make a big move. And we should be really excited because this is going to be a very exciting team to watch and to support. And yes, Jock Landale is most likely is on the move, most likely going to be waived from what we hear. And obviously there was some whispers of Cam Whitmore being traded, but that's looking not to be the case at the moment. But we don't know exactly how this roster is going to shake out. Rumors are flying around. I have no inside intel for you folks. All I do is have Google notifications like you do. So, just once again, this is a time I remind you that this is a fan podcast and a comedy podcast, so while I am reporting back on the rumors, I have no sources. Carla is my source, Carla the dog, aka the bear. We call her the bear because when we got her as a puppy 5 years ago now, she looked like a little bear cub. And yeah, shout out to Carla the dog, the co-producer on the show. We just celebrated her fifth Gotcha Day. We adopted Carla 5 years ago during the pandemic. Best decision we could ever make. And honestly, she's an amazing co-producer. So shout out to the bear, Carla the dog. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back to talk about your Houston Astros on the other side.
Houston Astros, Houston Texans, Houston Rockets, Houston Dynamo, Houston everything, Houston born and raised, H-Town Rebel Space Cadet Sports.
Hey y'all, welcome back. So let's see here. The Houston Astros are looking to play the Colorado Rockies starting this evening, as of the recording of this podcast, for a 3-game series before they start their weekend 4th of July series against the LA Dodgers. Once again, just reiterating what, when I was in elementary school, how I pledged allegiance to the flag with liberty and justice for all. Definitely, this is this. We always talk about America and the how and its greatness on this podcast, folks. I think when we're looking at the Rockies series here, and yesterday's podcast, I said that they should sweep, and I stand by that. Obviously, that it isn't a big shot to take here. The Astros swept the Phillies. They beat the Cubs. You'd think that they would have what it takes to sweep one of the worst teams in baseball. But at the same time, you can never disrespect the other team so much that you just don't play to your best ability or something like that. Sometimes the Astros play to the talent of the other team. I don't know exactly what it is. I don't think it's disrespect. I think maybe it's patience with some newer pitchers, trying to figure them out. I really don't know what it is. I don't have the stats here. I don't have, I have jokes, folks. I don't have stats. Well, I do have some stats to give you. I just don't know. I don't know how to really quantify why the Astros are like that. So they should sweep. We expect them to sweep, but also, while we can make fun of the Colorado Rockies, we do know that they're still a baseball team that can run into a sweep themselves. So who's going to play in these games, folks? Let's look at the first game today. It's going to be Colton Gordon for the Houston Astros taking the mound against Chase Dollander. Once again, I thought I should have written down. Shame on me. I should have written down how to say that name. I did not. No disrespect, but Colton Gordon for the Houston Astros. He's been a solid pitcher, if nothing else, showcasing that he could be an inning eater in the back of this rotation this season. For your Houston Astros, he's 3-1 on the season with a 3.98 ERA, a 1.30 WHIP, and 40 2/3 innings pitched. He has, I believe that's 38 strikeouts there with about a 1.30 WHIP. See, I do have stats for you. It's just I don't know complicated way stats. That's the thing, is I can't tell you why the Astros play to the talent of the other team, but I do have stats I can give you. Chase Dollander is a 24-year-old right-handed pitcher for the Colorado Rockies. He doesn't have a lot right now to show for his career in terms of stats. He has a 6.06 ERA and 2-8 in his short career, and about 62 innings pitched with 49 strikeouts and a 1.43 WHIP. So not impressive. Right now, but. You do have to remember that sometimes with the smaller sample size, you really can't tell what a pitcher really is. Spencer Getty had some bad stats last season. A lot of the starting pitchers last season started off with some really bad stats and had to work their way to some better numbers. Chase Dollander here is a prospect with a high ceiling for the Colorado Rockies. So he is not someone that the Astros should just disrespect because he has a higher ERA right now. Obviously, this young man has a high ceiling and can maybe figure it out, and we hope that he doesn't figure it out against the Houston Rockets. I hope he doesn't figure it out against the Houston Rockets either. That would be embarrassing if he just showed up and just started balling out. On top of being a Major League Baseball pitcher, he also crossed somebody on the Rockets. So let me get that right. I hope he doesn't learn too much against your Houston Astros. But we will see what these two young pitchers have in this game later today. It could be some early fireworks for 4th of July weekend. Could be a lot of hits. It could be some people running into some dingers out there in Colorado. In Game 2 for tomorrow, the Astros are sending out Hunter Brown. That's right, him. He's got a F4, I should say on Fangraphs. Hunter Brown. What can I say about him? Diesel has been shoving this season. Really been making a case for being the ace on this team and scaring the bejeebus out of all of us when it comes to re-signing with the Houston Astros, because it's like, well, he's gone. He's signed with Scott Boras. He's pitching out of his mind. He's gone. I hope not. But Hunter Brown has been incredible this season. If you haven't watched him pitch, tune in. Tune in, folks. It's going to be a good one. Hunter Brown is pitching against Austin Gomber, the left-handed pitcher for the Colorado Rockies. He's a veteran pitcher, kind of a little bit of an inning eater type pitcher. He's just getting his season started with just 14 and 2/3 innings pitched so far this season. So he's kind of like Lance McCullers, if you will. I'm not saying in terms of any other reason except that he is coming back from not being completely healthy at the beginning of the season. He's coming back kind of in the summer here. So he's got a 4.89 ERA in his career and a 1.37 career WHIP. So we're looking to hopefully do some damage against that left-handed pitcher there. And in Game 3, actually here there's going to be another left-handed pitcher from the Rockies, both lefty on lefty action here. The Astros are sending out Brandon Walter. Brandon is 1-1 on the season with a 3.34 ERA and 29 and 2/3 innings pitched with 30 strikeouts. He's kind of that older lefty rookie there for the Houston Astros. He's really made a push to start the season, so we're hoping that he can continue to find some success, eat some innings, and keep the game competitive for your Houston Astros. The Astros will be hitting against Kyle Freeland, the left-handed pitcher for the left-handed starter, another left-handed starter, I should say, for the Colorado Rockies. He is 1-9 on the season with a 5.56 ERA and 77 and 2/3 innings pitched with 59 strikeouts and a 1.6 WHIP. So not the best start for the season for Kyle Freeland. Hopefully the Astros can really do some damage against these left-handed starters. Maybe this is a good time to kind of find some elevation and get some dingers out there, really start to get this offense really cooking. Or maybe for somebody like Christian Walker, maybe it isn't time for that. Maybe you just play within your game and hope to run into some, just because we need to get him kind of on track here. Get some more consistent efforts from Walker. I don't know what to say about the Houston Astros first base position being a little haunted. I don't know what is up. I obviously don't believe I don't believe in ghosts. I don't. I ain't scared of no ghost. No, obviously, I don't think it's a true story. I don't know why Christian Walker is truly having a tough season outside of the fact that sometimes you sign a big contract, you want to do a good job, you put extra pressure on yourself, just like Josh Hader did a little bit last season. Hopefully, Christian Walker can turn it around very soon. I know he will. We're just hoping he gets more consistency soon. But if we're looking at his batting average he has a 213 batting average and 79 weighted runs created plus, and a 270 BABIP. Balls batted into play. And that's compared to maybe Cam Smith, who's batting 276 with a 122 WRC plus and a 366 BABIP. That's more of the line that you would think Christian Walker would have. Cam Smith has it right now. I really think while we could be frustrated a little bit about Christian Walker, we should also be very happy that despite the fact that Walker has struggled, despite the fact that Alvarez has been injured, despite the fact that Pena is nursing an injury right now, the Houston Astros have been able to find a way to find some offense and to kind of shoulder some of the load for Walker so he can get right. Guys like Cam Smith, guys like Isaac Paredes, and guys like Jake Myers. Hopefully they can find continued success. Jake Myers always starts a little strong and he peters off a bit. Hopefully he can find some continued success this season, and as the summer continues, we're going to need it. Going into the Dodgers series, right now it looks like the three pitchers pitching will be Lance McCullers Jr., Framber Valdez, and Colton Gordon, if they go in order and nobody skips a start for injury or rest or anything of that nature. Obviously, stay tuned to the blog and to the podcast. Will take the weekend off, but I will try to make sure I get some content out to you before the weekend so that we can talk about our Houston teams. Folks, I have a feeling there might be an emergency podcast or two with the way that this news has been dropping a lot recently. Folks, with that being said, if you think you have any bold predictions as to what big news story will drop for your Houston teams, make that projection. Let me know what you think that is in the comments. And that's going to do it for this transmission, Space Cadets. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast, folks. Please like, rate, review, subscribe, share, bop it, kick it, skip it, smash it. All of those, but do all of those things for me, folks. We are a small podcast and we only go as far as our listenership takes us. So please hit those buttons for me. We are supported by listeners like you. Please share this podcast with a Houston fan or Australian in your life. Give us a 5-star rating wherever you listen if you've gotten this far. I'd really appreciate it. Or you can check us out on Substack. That's spacecadetsports.substack.com, where you can get the full blog experience. You just put in your email there. You get almost everything is free on the Substack. I don't like to put too much behind a paywall. I like the subscription to be just a way that you can support. So please, if you feel like supporting, you could go there, or you could just support by leaving a comment. Let me know. Follow on social media, Space Cadet Sports on Instagram, spacecadetsports.bsky.social on Blue Sky, or you could just call in. Let me know your take. Call in. Let me know what crazy thing you think is what news story is going to drop, and will make me do an emergency podcast and then before the weekend at SpeakPipe. SpeakPipe.com/Space Cadet Sports. And folks, if you've gotten this far, I think you kind of might dig my weirdo stylings. If you want to see any other weird comedy jokes, anything like that, check me out on social media, making jokes, memes, art, podcasts, and so much more at Paul Salazar Jr. PaulSalazarJR.net, because I'm nothing but net. And you can find my other Substack, all my other nonsense, and even merch if you want. Merch for this podcast and my others. Check it out. Thanks so much for listening. Remember to be the best that you can be. Keep your head up, kid. And as always, vamos Houston.